So, what happens when you take the timeless wisdom of a Wall Street legend and you mash it up with the ice cold logic of computer code? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're going to explore how to take these brilliant, old school investing principles and plug them straight into the super fast, totally emotional roller coaster that is today's market.
But before we even get into the how, we've got to tackle a much more fundamental question. And it's one every single investor has to answer for themselves. Is the stock market your partner, or is it your enemy? Seriously, think about it. Because as you're about to see, how you answer that one question, well, it changes the entire game. And to help us figure that out, the legendary investor Benjamin Graham came up with this amazing idea. He created a character, a fictional business partner, named Mr. Market. And Graham's big warning was this: if you don't understand your relationship with this guy, you are going to end up a slave to his every single whim. So, yeah, let's meet this partner of yours who, let's just say, has some pretty serious personality quirks.
Okay, so here's the deal. Every single day, Mr. Market shows up at your door and he makes you an offer. Some days he is absolutely euphoric, totally giddy, and he wants to buy your shares for way more than they're worth. Then, on other days, he's a complete mess, panicked, depressed, and he's practically begging you to take his shares off his hands for pennies on the dollar. But here's the key, right? He absolutely does not care if you just slam the door in his face and ignore him. Your only job is to recognize what kind of mood he's in and decide if his offer is a genuine bargain or a total delusion. And this whole idea just perfectly captures the huge difference Graham saw between a real investor and a speculator. See, the investor, they treat stocks like an actual piece of a business. They use Mr. Market's wild mood swings to their advantage, right? They buy from him when he's down in the dumps and sell to him when he's on top of the world. But the speculator, oh, they do the exact opposite. They get totally swept up in his mood trying to guess what he's going to feel like tomorrow.
And you know what? During those crazy market manias, pretty much everyone becomes a speculator. I mean, just look at this number, 5.7 days. That tells the whole story. At the absolute peak of the dot-com bubble back in '99, that was the average amount of time someone held a NASDAQ stock. Less than a week. People weren't investing in businesses. They were playing a high-speed video game, where the only thing that mattered was the ticker symbol flashing across the screen.
And it really doesn't get more human than this. This quote, and you're not going to believe who it's from the singer Barbra Streisand, talking about her trading during that same dot-com craze. It just perfectly captures that emotional gut punch Mr. Market can deliver. It's got nothing to do with analysis, right? It's just this raw, visceral reaction to seeing the color red on a screen. And that feeling, that's the exact impulse that drives us to do the worst possible thing: buy high and sell low.
So that brings us to the big question for our time, right? We know we have these very human, very flawed emotional circuits hardwired into our brains, but we also have technology. So what if we could use that tech to build some kind of buffer, a wall between our gut impulses and our actual final decision?
Well, this little line of code right here is a perfect example of that buffer in action. It's from a language called PineScript, and it is pure unemotional logic. All it's doing is asking a simple question: did the price close higher than when it opened? If the answer is yes, make the candle on the chart lime green. If no, make it red. That's it. There's no fear in there, no greed, no what ifs, just a cold, hard rule.
And this really shows you the incredible contrast. On one side, you've got the human reaction. I see red, I panic, I sell. On the other side, you've got the coded rule. If the close is less than the open, then the color is red. See the difference? The code doesn't get scared. It doesn't get greedy. It just executes. It tames this chaotic flood of market data and emotion and distills it into a single logical output every single time.
So, what exactly is this tool we're talking about? It's called PineScript, and it's basically a programming language built specifically for traders and investors. The best way to think about it is this: it lets you take any trading idea you've got rattling around in your head, doesn't matter if it's super simple or incredibly complex, and translate it into a set of objective rules that your computer can follow and even test for you automatically. Pretty cool, right?
And honestly, getting started is probably easier than you think. The basic process is really straightforward. You just open up the editor, you write out your rules using the PineScript language, and then you add it to your chart to watch your idea literally come to life. What you're doing, essentially, is building your very own personal, completely unemotional market analyst.
Okay, this all sounds amazing, doesn't it? Like we finally found the cure for emotional investing. But here comes the twist. Let me ask you this.
If you give a faster car to a really bad driver, does that make them a better driver? Or does it just help them get into an accident faster? And that's the thing you have to remember. Code has zero judgment. It's just an amplifier. It will take a brilliant, well-researched strategy and execute it with perfect discipline. But it will also take a totally foolish, hype-driven, trend-chasing plan and execute that with the exact same ruthless efficiency. The power is in the tool, for sure. But the wisdom, that has to come from you. Let me give you a classic example. Back in the early 2000s, a company called Quest Communications was a total market darling. Everybody loved it. But behind the scenes, some, let's call it creative accounting, was hiding a business that was completely falling apart. It didn't matter how fast or sophisticated your trading algorithm was. If you ignored that underlying reality, all you were doing was coding a more efficient way to ride the stock all the way down by 90%.
And it was the same story with a corporate giant like Tyco. On the surface, things looked great. They were on this massive shopping spree, buying up companies, all fueled by debt and some very aggressive accounting. But the fundamentals, they were telling a completely different, much scarier story. And in 2002, wham, the stock lost over 70% of its value. It's a hard lesson. Technology can't save you from a bad business.
Okay, so this is what it all leads to. This is the solution. It's not about choosing between Graham's old-school principles or modern code. It's about combining them. It's about putting principle over code. The goal here is to become what we're calling an intelligent coder, someone who uses powerful, modern tools to enforce timeless, proven wisdom. So what does an intelligent coder actually look like in practice? Well, they use code to automate discipline, not to amplify greed. They build systems that react to cold, hard business data, not whatever sensational headline is trending today. They use code to test their ideas against decades of market history, not just what happened in the last 5 minutes. And this is the most important part. They focus their algorithms on understanding the business, not trying to predict Mr. Market's crazy mood swings. You know, Graham's wisdom here is honestly more relevant today than ever before. He warned us, flat out, don't even try to beat the pros at their own short-term game. Because if you do that, whether you're clicking buttons by hand or running a fancy algorithm, all you're doing is becoming a faster, more efficient slave to Mr. Market. The real goal is to use this amazing technology to play a completely different game.
And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. The point of all this isn't to build a crystal ball that can predict the future. That's a fool's errand. Now, the goal is to build a fortress made of logical, pre-committed rules that protects your hard-earned money from the madness of the crowd, and maybe even more importantly, protects you from your own worst impulses. So the next time you come across some new trading tool or a can't-miss algorithm, I want you to ask yourself this one simple question. Are you building a tool for intelligent investing, or are you just building a faster, more high-tech way to follow the crowd right off a cliff? The power is literally at your fingertips. The choice is yours.